Hello everyone. Today we would work on proverbs. In our last class, we worked on suffixes. Now you might be wondering why we are not working on prefixes because that topic is connected. Now see, as I told you that our vocabulary SLO is a very comprehensive SLO. This is just a name of a very broad topic, and in that topic there are so many subtopics. So what I'm doing, I'm just trying to help you understand what comes in vocabulary, what are the other subtopics in this main topic of vocabulary. So we have worked on, say, individual words, we have worked on word families, we have what we have learned in word family is that to be able to recognize and use words correctly in terms of parts of speech. So if any word is a noun, verb, adverb, what it is in parts of speech, we should know that. And one of the way to understand them is to learn some of the common suffixes and prefixes. If we know this word family structure, then we would be able to use the words correctly. Okay, so and we will have confidence in our English, in our usages, that we are using the words correctly. Okay, so in our previous class we worked on suffixes, and I think everybody, expected that we would be working on prefixes in this class, but I changed it. Why I changed it? Because it's a very broad topic, and many of the students were asking me, sir, it's not clearly written in the SLO that talk about suffixes and prefixes. This is because vocabulary is a very broad topic. In SLOs they just give the teacher a hint of the main topic, and the teacher knows what other topics, subtopics are in this main topic. So instead of working myself on the prefixes, I want you to go ahead and work on some of the common prefixes yourselves. On the way, I will be giving you some handouts of prefixes in your GCR. Okay, so what you have to do, I'll create an assignment in GCR where you would be asked to share some of the prefixes that you learned on your own. Now, what are some of the ways to learn some of the prefixes? Just type in Google common prefixes, 100 common prefixes, 200 common prefixes. Okay, so like this. And in our previous class we worked on 50 suffixes. Now that is not the end of the suffix topic, so that means that I just gave you a hint to work on suffixes yourselves, because it's a subtopic of our main topic. And if you have understanding of prefixes and suffixes, you would be able to understand and use the words properly, and you would be able to understand even new words. So those words which seem to you aliens, new words, but if you have understanding of these things, prefixes and suffixes, you would get to the meaning of the word. So here, if you recall the example of the word skyrocket, the word skyrocket, when somebody wrote in the class, instead of asking instead of, I stopped the student to tell the meaning, and instead of going to the dictionary meaning, we tried to understand its meaning through the words used in it, like rocket. And we figured it out that rockets run really fast and they go to sky, right? And then we tried to get to the meaning of the word, and we were able to get the meaning of the word. So like this, if you get some understanding of prefixes and the suffixes, you would be able to understand that. Okay, that's it about prefixes and suffixes. Aristotle clearly says they talk about the proverbs. Now there are many proverbs in English language. Okay, so some of the common proverbs that we would work on are from American English. Okay, it doesn't mean that the proverbs that we are going to work on today are not in British English. They are also in British English, but mostly, I felt that they are American, and the handout that I have got, it also clearly says that it is American language in the proverbs. Okay, anyway, here in subcontinent we speak a mixed language: British, American, Australian, Scotland, and every part of the world where English is spoken, we get exposure of all of that language. Okay, so let's get started. And before starting the topic, again, let me tell you a little bit importance of the proverbs. Now, if you use proverbs in your language, in especially your writing, okay, especially in say when you are in exam and you are writing an ERQ, say a letter or an essay or a narrative, then what would happen? The assessor would feel that you are a very mature writer. You have wisdom. You know depth of the language, and you can create arguments which are mature ideas, mature arguments. I have told in the class many times that any student who is writing childish kind of ideas that are good for say middle and primary classes, and if you are still using that kind of language, then assessor would not be inspired from your ideas. So the proverbs help you create mature ideas, and ideas which show wisdom. Okay, so maybe some of the places where you can use proverbs are say to support any argument in an essay. Okay, if you're writing an essay, you can use any proverb to support your argument or to support your thesis. Okay, and another option, another place where you can use the proverbs is dialogue. When you are writing a narrative, say, then maybe you want your characters, if you are writing in first person, then you yourself is also a character in your story. So you can use in your dialogue any proverb, and that would make your argument, your dialogue, your statements strong. Okay, so let's get started. That's what you should know about proverbs and their importance. Let's get started. Our first proverb is birds of a feather flock together. How many of you have heard this? Birds of a feather flock together.
Not heard.
Okay, you haven't heard. Anybody else who have heard this? Go ahead.
No, sir.
Asha, see, I said if anybody
No,
has.
sir.
Asha, see, understand my question. How many of you have heard this? It means that only those students will speak who have heard it. Okay, so Asha, nobody has heard it. Now, instead of explaining this proverb myself, let's get the meaning of this proverb ourselves by just looking at the picture and the words used in this proverb. Birds of a feather flock together. What it suggests? What comes to your mind when you listen to this proverb? One at a time. Yes. Okay, Samavia, go ahead and tell us what comes to your mind when you see this picture. Now, see, this picture shows that this is a bird, but this is not a bird. Maybe it's a bird, but here birds is say showing or talking about people. Okay, meaning people of a feather flock together. Now, feather doesn't mean say actually literally the wings. Okay, it means features. It means qualities. Meaning people of same qualities flock together. Flock meaning here they meaning get together. They
Same qualities go together.
it means that the people who have same kind of habits, the people who have same kind of
Gather together.
yeah, they become friends. They for example, in our class, if we talk about some of the students who don't do homework, then say if one student doesn't he doesn't do say most of the assignments, then there are some students who also don't do most of the assignments, then they will stay together, they will even sit together, they would mostly stand up together when it comes to the homework, right? Are you getting? Asha, okay, so
Yes, sir.
yes, now this is a situation where this has been used. Now you can see also the meaning. People of the same type seem together. Okay, it means that birds of a feather flock together. Now here is a situation where this proverb has been used. Now what I want you to do, I don't want to read this myself. Now I want you to read it here in Zoom class because we have limited time. I will be sharing this in GCR so that you can go there and read this, a kind of exemplar situation yourself. But Here, we would just focus on, say, the proverb, the picture, and its meaning. Is that fine?
Okay, sir.
Yes. So now, next idiom
Yes, sir.
is, in unity there is strength. Okay, it's not idiom, it's a proverb. In unity there is strength, and this is something that we have in our own culture and language.
Sir,
Yes.
what is the difference between proverb and
Proverb and, yes.
idiom?
Now, proverb is a saying. Okay, it's a saying. It's a saying. Saying meaning, say it's a wise statement of somebody. Okay, or say it's a wise statement. Idiom is a say, group of words which create a different meaning. Okay, the words that are used in that, if we look at their literal meaning, their dictionary meaning, it would be different if we look at the individual words, but when these words get together, they create another meaning. Okay, so this is saying, and the idiom is not a saying. Proverb is a saying. Okay, okay. So now
Okay.
this one in unity there is a strength. It's self-explanatory. What does it mean? Who would tell me? Farwa would tell me. Farwa, go ahead. Tell us what this means. In unity there is a strength. Yes, Farwa, go ahead. No, it's very easy. Okay. So I'm going to the meaning myself. Okay, a group of
It's
people.
very easy.
It's very easy. A group of people with the same goals can accomplish more than individuals can. Okay, so see, when you are together, you have a strength, right? Okay, it's very easy. So let's move
It
to.
is a proverb in Urdu or Sindhi also.
Exactly, exactly. So now here is a very interesting one. It takes two to tango. Okay, what does it mean? Now, from the picture, maybe you would be getting something different, but the idiom is a little different. But whatever comes to your mind, be honest and tell me what do you think that this means. It takes two to tango. And I'm giving you a situation. Now, for example, say I entered in your class and say some students were making lots of noise and they were throwing chalks or maybe something else at each other, and I came and I asked them what's the matter, and I wanted them to stand up, and one of was blaming the other and the other was blaming the other, right? And I said that it takes two to tango. Tell me clearly what happened. Yes, Uran, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Huren is raising hand. Go ahead, Huren, tell us what it means. For example, Samavya.
For both parties involved.
Okay. Okay, good.
Sir, both parties involved in a situation are equally responsible for it.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so see, when two people work as a team, they are both responsible for the team's successes and failures. Okay, meaning if you are having any argument, that argument, there must be fault of both of the sides. Okay, so it means that if you are in a group, okay, and if something bad happens, you both are responsible. Okay, so this is what it takes two to tango. Okay, now a third one is a good one, but I want to leave it. Maybe I'll share it in the. Just say, wait a minute. I know this is a good one. I don't want to leave it. A man is known by the company.
It's easy.
It's very easy. A man is known by the company he keeps. Now, its meaning is a person is believed to be like the person with whom he or she spends time. Okay, for example, if anybody would spend time with poets, then what he would be thought of, what he would be, what would be his reputation in other people's minds?
Poet.
Yeah, poets. So if anybody spends time with poets, then people would think that he is himself also a poet. Okay. So for example, if Noman spends time with, say, Shizan, then what you would understand?
He must be like Shizan.
Yeah, and okay, good. So let's see. Now this is also very interesting. Misery loves company. What does that mean? Now this is interesting. Yes. What does this mean? What's coming in your mind? Yes. Misery loves company. Anybody? Look at the picture. Misery meaning suffering. Okay. So
Misery is your helplessness. Helplessness.
helplessness or say suffering, right? So see, this person is suffering. He is going through a problem, and here the proverb says, "Misery loves company." Company meaning other people. Meaning, say, suffering loves, loves that some other people should join me.
Other people.
So what does
Should
it?
other people some suffer with me?
Maybe. Okay, good. Let's see. Unhappy people often get satisfaction from having others share their misery. Okay. So, for example, this person is, say suffering, and when this person is coming here, he would be feeling a little happy, right? Are you getting? Yes. So, misery loves company meaning unhappy people often
Yes,
get
sir.
satisfaction from having others share their misery. Okay, so that's very interesting. Now this is a very good one. Okay, there is no place like home. What does it mean? Look at the picture.
It's a turtle.
It's a turtle. Yes, it's a turtle,
It
and
has a type of chimney over it.
exactly. Okay, so what it means?
There is
There is
no
no
place.
place like home. It's self-explanatory. Meaning,
Yes,
okay, Zakria,
nothing or
May I tell?
Zakria, first you go, then Samavya will tell us.
The home is better than.
Unmute yourself. You are putting yourself on mute.
Sir, home is better than any other place.
Okay, good. Samavya, what would you say?
I was trying to say the same thing. No place is better than home. Home is the most
Yeah.
desirable place.
A person is happiest with his or her family and friends. Meaning, say, if you are poor, if say, we don't have enough, say, appliances at home, if there is no electricity, if there is, any problem at home, but still we feel, very comfortable at home. Okay, so meaning there is no place like home. Meaning we feel so much happy at home. Okay. So another is very good. Okay, too many cooks spoil the broth. Now what does that mean? Look at the picture, and I'll ask a particular student to explain this. So get the look of the picture and the proverb. Too many cooks spoil the broth. Now see, there are many cooks, many chefs, and they are cooking something, right? Now let's see the proverb. Too many cooks spoil the broth. Yes. Okay. Now I'll ask any particular student to tell me the meaning. Shahnila will tell us. Is Shahnila from our class?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Shanila, go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
Okay, go ahead and tell us. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Trying to take care of one thing.
Okay, so people are taking care of one
Yes.
thing. Okay, many people are taking care of one thing. Then what do you think will happen with that one thing that is being cared by too many people? It would be, it would be,
Spoiled.
Delicious.
no, it would be delicious. Acha,
Spoiled.
how do you think it would be delicious? Mm-hmm. Acha, see, Samavia, can you put yourself on mute?
Delicious.
I want Shanila to answer. Asha say, Shanila, if at home you were cooking something and say your mother, your sister, your brother, your father, they also, came to cook the same thing and they had, they definitely must have their different tastes. For example, say your mother might like, salty food. Your father might like, say, sweet food, right? So maybe something bad would happen if all of you start adding spices according to your tastes to just that one dish. What would happen? Would it be delicious?
No, sir. It's not
Yeah,
be delicious.
it wouldn't be delicious, right? So let me tell you
Yes.
here, example. I remember that I was writing the story The Last Breath, right? When I was writing it,
Yes.
I sent it to all of almost all of my friends, international friends, for beta reading. And when I started getting suggestions and say feedback from all of friends, international and national friends, and everybody suggested different ideas. Somebody said that I like the story, and somebody said that Rabab faces so much injustice and she forgives the man like this. It's not possible. Everybody was sharing their ideas with me, and I felt that my story was being spoiled. I felt that if I follow their suggestions, I would, end up my story, very badly. I thought that I should stop listening to people and write the story the way I want it. Right? So, see, if I had,
Yes.
focused on so many, ideas, so many suggestions, I wouldn't have written the story the way I wanted. So, I can say too many cooks spoil the broth. Right?
Hmm.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
now you understand that too many people trying to take care of something can ruin it, can spoil it, can destroy it.
Ron.
Okay, okay. Let's get to the other proverb. Two heads are better than one. What does it suggest? Let me ask it from a particular student. Okay, Yasin, go ahead and explain this. What comes to your mind when you see this? Everybody stick to the end of the class. I'll take the attendance at the end. If anybody leaves in the middle, your attendance won't be counted. And I'm maintaining register. Yasin, unmute yourself. Your participation is very important. Please unmute yourself. Okay, Sajad, you go ahead and tell us what this means. Two heads are better than one. What it, implies. What does this proverb imply? Two heads are
Sir,
better.
may I tell?
But I think unity has strength.
Unity. Asha, see, Asha, when we had kind of unity kind of proverb, Asha, see, see, look at the word head, right? Head is for what? It's for thinking, it's for
May I tell, sir?
solving problems, right? So, what does this suggest?
Yes, sir.
Now tell us. Mm-hmm.
So the two men can easily solve the problem.
Very good. Okay, let's get to its meaning now. It says that two people working together can solve a problem quicker and better than a person working alone. Okay, so for example, when sometimes you solve any math problem, and sometimes your teacher gives you, say, work to be done individually, right? And when you individually solve any problem, then there are chances that your answer might be incorrect, right? Maybe. But if you are asked to solve a problem in groups, right, in pairs maybe, then chances are that your answer would be correct, right? Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
good. So let's now move to the other one. Now this is something I am skipping. Shall I skip or not skip? Asha, okay, so last one maybe. Then I would come to the other section of the class. That would be, I'll ask individually to give me any situation where you would be able to use the idioms. Okay, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I have heard this so many times. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. What does it suggest?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, who would tell me? Let me ask any particular student. Who said Ali Zaidi? Would you please go ahead and explain this? Sayyid Ali Zaidi. I haven't heard this name in the.
Healthy food, sir.
Sorry?
Sir, healthy food, sir.
Again? Repeat yourself, please.
सर हेल्दी फूड अगर मतलब कोई खाएगा तो वो डॉक्टर से वो रहेगा दूर.
Very good. Okay, so see, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, meaning that eating an apple every day helps a person to stay healthy. Meaning, you are also right, food, but here particularly apple. Okay, apple is considered to be very good, food or fruit for health. Okay. So everyone, this is all I wanted you to learn today. And
I'm over.
Sorry. Yes.
I'm over. Sir, next class का time हो गया.
This is why I wanted to stop here. Asha, now your task is that use these some of the proverbs in dialogue. Okay, so make a situation, and situation would be same. You wouldn't meaning for every proverb you wouldn't create different situation. The situation would be same, and you have to use as many proverbs as possible in that one situation, in dialogue, in statements. Okay, whatever you want to write, I would suggest writing a narrative. There you would be able to use this. Okay, so now wait for a minute. Let me take the attendance, and then I'll end the meeting. Today the class went very well. Okay, no internet connection issue. I am sitting in the physics lab, and I luckily got a good strength of signals.
Every teacher says that physics lab has a good network connection than other places.
I don't know why. I was in the class early in the morning, and I took matrix class, but it didn't work there, and then I came here. Okay, so today is the 7th date, right? 7 December, and the 9th class. Okay, so
Very lucky lab, sir.
sorry. Okay, everyone, that's it for today, and I'm ending the meeting. Thank you very much for joining. Hope to see you in our next class.